Good afternoon, everyone. The US federal government is now spending $2,200 billion to pay interest on debt per year. 2,200 billion Australian dollars or 1.47 trillion US dollars, mostly federal government, but there is some state government debt there as well. And this is what happens when you want all the quote free stuff from government. You get unlimited inflation caused by governments deliberately, interest rates too low, spending too much money, etc., etc. And of course, the debt. This is just going to get worse and worse. This is from the Senate.gov site. We can see last calendar year the change in the national debt. $2.25 trillion. So the US government is borrowing between 2 to 3 trillion US dollars per year. CNBC reporting in 2024, the national debt was rising by about $1 trillion every 100 days. That slowed somewhat. And it's not because the corporations aren't being taxed enough and, Americans need more healthcare and all that sort of stuff. The largest budget items are Medicare and Medicaid. The US government collects $5.3 trillion in tax revenue and spends almost $2 trillion of that. Almost 40% of tax revenue is spent on Medicare and Medicaid. So this whole myth that the US doesn't have government healthcare, the socialist healthcare that runs up the debt, they've got plenty of that. And then of course, Social Security, age pensions, $1.6 trillion. So these are the largest spending items. The interest on debt is actually higher than this particular site is reporting as we got new data today. So the interest on debt is the third largest item. And then the defense budget, nearly $1 trillion. And of course, Trump wants to raise that to 1.5 trillion. Why not? You got 40 trillion of debt. Let's add another few trillion on there. Let's keep it going. And if you're thinking, we just need to tax the corporations so we can get healthcare. No, you haven't done any basic math, basic logic calculations. The US government collected about $524 billion in corporate tax revenue in the fiscal year 2025, their financial year. And so if you're talking about paying for an increase in the debt of $2 to $3 trillion per year, currently 2.25 trillion, what are you going to do? You're going to raise corporate taxes, not double, not triple, but 500%, 600%. How many corporations are going to stay operating in America if you jack the tax rate up that high? So it doesn't work. And what is bankrupting the US is the big socialist spending, the Medicare, Medicaid, the government sick care, the government age pensions, the attack force, kidnapping presidents from other countries, blowing up other countries, and the interest on the debt is becoming a massive, massive problem. It's not mathematically possible for this to continue much longer unless, of course, they print trillions of dollars, they have the Federal Reserve print them up, suppress interest rates, create unlimited inflation, and the working class suffers the most when we get inflation.